Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, happy Sunday. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday. Making sure my chat is up. This will be the last podcast I do in regards to this topic. I'm sick of it, move on, but I did promise I would break down Doreen Virtue's stars for you. And I am a woman of my word, so let me get my notes because I wrote some notes. I've got quite a few notes, so it's been kind of an eventful morning, so I kind of had to change things around. We've had something happen to the neighbor down the street. I'm not quite sure what, but there are like 2 ambulances, 2 fire departments, 2 fire trucks, 6 cop cars. I kind of assumed he had died because he's an older gentleman, but my neighbor's out there being nosy. I told her report back to me. Doreen Virtue. Okay. Born 4/28/1958 in Los Angeles, California at 1 a.m. I got this from a viewer that watched another one of my podcasts, and I forgot his name, but I want to thank you, sir, for doing this for me. I appreciate it. So, no, first off, I do not do modern astrology. I practice the 16th century Nostradamus method of astrology, and it is a combination of Chinese astrology and I would say draconian astrology in a great many ways. I'm focusing on the housing systems, and I am focusing on her dragon head and tail. These are the lunar nodes, north and south. In Vedic, it's, I believe, called Ketu and Ratu. So that is a big difference between modern and ancient astrology. But first, I want to start with her dragon's head in Scorpio and her tail in Taurus. Now, she has a double energy here because the one thing my software doesn't provide for you is the hidden dragon, which every human being has one. That is something I elaborate with you on more when you get a full life reading from me. You will know where your hidden is. With her, Doreen Virtue, she has double energy. Both her natal dragon head and her hidden are both in the 8th and 2nd house. So this is double energy, as I call it. Some people even call it dignified. I don't see that, but okay. Her ascendant. So remember, there's double power here, and I'm going to jump over to, since we're talking about the lunar nodes, her Scorpio, her north nodes in Scorpio. Anytime you have a north node in Scorpio, you're dealing with, the north node is where the stars want you to go. It's your soul's purpose, where you have the most success. Now, we feel comfortable in our tail. I've said this before, and even myself. It's familiar. You're used to it. With Doreen Virtue, she's done this not just once, but twice, okay? 2 of her past lives, she's been female, and both of her past lives, she has come from wealth, money. She has had a good life, and she feels comfortable in that kind of a lifestyle. But I do want to talk to you about the dragon's head and tail a little bit, just to give you some perspective. I'm going to show you a book that I use, and it is a book that I got when I started learning the ancient method of astrology, and it is a book written by my teacher, Dr. Louis Torrey. And if you want to know more about your the dragon and the north and south nodes, then this is the book for you. By far, out of all the things he's ever written, this is probably his masterpiece, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to endorse him in any way, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Power of the Dragon. I want to read to you a little something about people with a dragon tail Bernie Madoff had a dragon tail in the second house of money. Second house rules wealth and possessions, self-esteem. She has a double energy of that tail in that position. So a negative dragon's tail will represent you will do anything you have to get money, whether it's against the law, whether it's right, whether it's decent. Now, remember, not everybody resonates with their dragon tail. Some of us as human beings have evolved into their dragon head, is where you should be. But we all fall victim, especially when we have double energy. Like Doreen Virtue's energy is concentrated. It's double in energy. So she's a double dragon tail in Taurus. One thing about Doreen is she has lost a lot in her life. She went from rags to riches and back to rags again and into riches. She's done this a few times, not just in this life, but in a past life. And my personal opinion is she gave up the metaphysical because there's not a whole lot of money in this. If you're in this profession to make money, then yes, it's good if you are making money. More power to you, right on. But see, you can make more money in the evangelical world than you can in the metaphysical right now. Even though we are in the new age of Aquarius, we are not at its zenith yet. That won't be for another 500, 600 years. We'll be in the zenith of it. But we're still fighting the age of Pisces, and religion is the key here. A lot of people that have this energy, the dragon's tail in Taurus, they're financially insecure and they do nothing about it. They'll either marry a person for money and wealth. They have an addiction to shopping and they can't stop. Buy, spend, 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 spend. And what else did I write about this? I wrote some more notes on this. Anyway, that is her dragon's tail in her second house of wealth and money. It makes perfect sense to me. Let's go to the 8th house, which is her dragon's head is in Scorpio. Okay. And if you looked at her chart that I posted on the thumbnail, let's see. So her 8th house is Scorpio, and she has that dragon's head sitting there. Why she's degressed, I don't know. And I'm going to say the word degressed. She's degressed back into her tail where she's comfortable. She's married for money. She's married for security. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I do know that the reason she got married and has changed, it has something to do with the husband. Maybe he has money. I don't even know if her parents are still alive. I'm, seen all kinds of videos on this, so it's like pieces of a puzzle you're putting together. But her North Node, her dragon's head's in Scorpio, and people with this placement, they have a deep desire for the finer things in life. They're willing to work hard to achieve their success, and they have a sense of security. In many lifetimes, she has had it and had to accumulate and jealously guard some of her material wealth. I guess I should put on my glasses to survive in order. Now that she, unfortunately, it's really sad what's happened, because with her stars and having a dragon's head in Scorpio, let's decipher a little deeper into the dragon's head in Scorpio, because some of you may be able to catch on to this. Some of you I may have lost, and I don't. This is a little more of an advanced topic for some people, so I don't expect you to get it if you don't. And there's no problem asking me a question about it. I have no problem answering questions. I know this is a very unique method of astrology. This is ancient astropsychology. But let's go back to our South Node for a minute, because my notes here are pretty good. Taurus. People born with this placement had it all in a past life: wealth, beauty, and true love. In this lifetime, Doreen must endure a karmic life and work hard and constantly rebuild it all. Her subconscious residue is to get back to the lavish life she is accustomed to, whether she breaks a few laws or not. Now, what I mean by that is ripping off her students. That's breaking the law in some ways. Okay, so she's going back to a lifestyle she's lived in 2 past lives. With my method of astrology, I can pinpoint 2 past lives you've had. Some of us have had many past lives. But with Doreen's, it's been 2 past lives, and they've been the same past lives. She's lived as a female socialite, someone with a lot of money, wealth, and power. She's married well. In this lifetime, she has the dragon's head in Scorpio. Anytime you have a dragon's head in Scorpio, the stars want you to swim to the light of what she was doing: metaphysics, higher knowledge, higher learning, angel readings. This is all in the New Age realm. And yes, there are some of you out there who don't believe in the New Age realm. I've seen a lot of spam messages coming through on my older podcasts. And, I don't waste my time responding to ignorance and stupidity. So if you're trying to engage with me in some sort of a fight or warfare, you're not worth my time. I have too many clients to tend to, too many newsletters to post. I will not engage. If you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to listen to me. There's an off button. But some of you out there enjoy that. And I have no problem defending myself. Trust me, you'll feel my wrath. But I'm here to educate you on the metaphysics and the astrology of her. I'm not here to have a debate on Jesus Christ or Christianity or anything like that. I don't give a rat's ass what Doreen Virtue does with her life. It doesn't concern me. And this will be the last time I talk about this broad, because I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest. Back to the North Node in Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of witchcraft. It's a sign of metaphysics. It's the sign of deep spiritual knowledge. Okay, it's the sign of rebirth and transformation. It's death and drama. Yes, it's ruled by Pluto, but it is also transformation. We die and we rebirth. Hypothetically speaking, that is. Okay, so here's some key words for a positive Scorpio dragon's head. You work for the law and medicine, and you can achieve high position. You are deep, mystical, refined, and magnetic. Definitely she was, yes. You have a wealth of residual inner power. I think she did, yes. You have the will to steal, the will of steel and artistic ability. You are also known as the eagle in the zodiac, and Doreen Virtue was considered the eagle. Scorpio takes on two types of Scorpios. You can either be the eagle and soar to higher power, or you could be the lizard. You never want to be the lizard. The lizard is the self-loathing, the jealousy, the negative traits. All the negative traits of Scorpio is the lizard. Doreen Virtue was the eagle in a great many ways. She's lucky with corporate endeavors, and she's probably an incredible investigator of some sort. These were all of her dragon's head, what she was born with. This is where the stars wanted her to go. And she was there. Why she's regressed, I do know. It's because of a man. That's why she's regressed. She married someone with a little money, and she wanted to be secure. Metaphysical world wasn't bringing her the cash that she needed to live the lifestyle that she wanted. She's regressed into her tail. Now, North Node in the 8th house, it also represents that in her past lifetime, she had become very overly attached and possessive regarding her belongings. It was about her things, materialism. And in this lifetime, the universe wants her to learn the value of uniting your resources and efforts with others to achieve a common goal. You know that true value is found in people rather than material goods. Your challenge is to enjoy and share your possessions rather than being dominated by them. This is where the stars wanted her to go. She went there. She went back. She went backwards. It's like Doreen Virtue had her own retrograde. How else to say it? On top of that, she has a midheaven in Scorpio. Now, midheaven. We talk about a midheaven. A midheaven is your aim in life, where you need to be and succeed. And having a dragon's head and a midheaven both there, that's incredible power. And it always says that people with this placement will do well with the ability to feel out and involve others in a collaborative venture. She had, I think she used to have a radio show. When I was doing radio, I remember her having a show. I don't remember what the name of it was, but she was involved in all kinds of things. She was emotionally intuitive, and a lot of people with this placement are so inflexible in some ways that they stay with a job that they hate. Sometimes selfishness, ruthlessness, and an overkill are all the negative possibilities of this placement. So in some ways, I think Doreen was burned out. She burned out on the metaphysical. It takes a lot of determination. It takes resilience to keep coming on here and doing stuff, and for a lot of people. But I don't think she was seeing the money she wanted to have and make. So that's where it all comes down to: money. Money, 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 money. Now, she also has Neptune in her 8th house, and that's also sitting right there with, they have they're highly intuitive. They have strong psychic abilities, interested in spiritual and metaphysical stuff, which she was. But what their challenge is to channel your psychic abilities into efforts designed to help and uplift and heal humanity. Sometimes with this placement, you suffer financial loss if you attempt to deceive others. Aha. She is learning that. All of this information I have given you has been pulled directly from my software. And my software is created by John Halloran. You can find him at halloran.com. He does software for several different astrologers. He's incredible. So I am pulling this from his software that I've purchased. And it is giving me this perspective. And I just might post this entire reading on my website so that some of you out there can get a feel for what I do and how my charts are run and how my interpretations are. And then the next couple of days, I'm going to be running a Valentine's Day special as well. So stay tuned for that. All right. Let's go back to the beginning where I started with her. So she has the sun in the 2nd house, and the sun in the 2nd house is material security. That's important to her. She enjoys being surrounded by the finer things in life, and it's hard for her to part with prized possessions. She's very materialistic. She may find that she develops hobbies of collecting things of value like coins, artwork, antiques, jewelry, things like that. Now, having the tail in the 2nd house, that's also from her past life that she's doing this. What's interesting about this is Doreen Virtue has a Capricorn ascendant, and the ascendant sign, like I talked about midheaven being your aim in life, your rising is also your rising. Your ascendant is your hidden face to the world, how you really are underneath all those layers, like an onion. remove all the layers, and this is who you really are. No matter what's your sun sign. If your rising is in Capricorn, you're going to be conservative by nature. Even in the realm of politics, I tell people this: people are programmed by their stars to be conservative or progressive or liberal, however you want to call it. That's not an accident. People are programmed by their stars to be like this. And with her having her Capricorn, her ascendant in Capricorn, Capricorn is the most conservative sign of the zodiac. This rules the GOP. So she makes decisions more on a serious nature with ambition. She's practical and she's disciplined. Although she seems to be timid and non-assertive, she is actually very tenacious and patient. And with these qualities, it's not an accident that, she excelled in the business world, that the empire that she had created for so long. In fact, as a matter of fact, people with this ascendant probably live to be 100. They could see 100 very easy. Remember, Capricorn is the sign of old age, old father time. It rules senior citizens. So having an ascendant there, she could live a long, long time. She could see the 100-year mark if she stays healthy enough. Now, with her physical ailments will be her areas of her knees and skin. These are the areas where she will have the most problems. She's also subject to illnesses induced by a negative outlook on life, because she obsesses about every little thing. It's also possible that she will have problems with her teeth, arthritis, and other illnesses and characteristics of an unbending, rigid outlook in life. And that's where she's gone now, because right-wing Christian fundamentalism is unbending and rigid in the outlook of life. One of the biggest comments I absolutely hate, I'm going to say the word hate, is when I hear them talking about gay people. Oh, love the sinner, but hate the sin. You know what? Shut up. People are programmed by their stars, okay, to be gay. And that's a whole nother rant for a whole nother show. And maybe I should do a show on that. But people are programmed by their stars. Some have more masculine planets, some have more feminine planets. That is how you get to where, looking at a person's chart, you can make the assessment. Well, this person steers to a more gay platform, or this person steers to more even bisexual. You can see that in the method of astrology that I do. So she's regressed into a very rigid outlook on life. And that's where you get that from. Her moon's in Virgo, and people with Virgo moons are very picky and fussy people. They're incredibly critical. They're critical thinkers. A lot of them don't like animals or having animals around them. I'm hoping that's not the case for Doreen, because the one thing she does need is the animal energy around her to ground and balance her out. Animals are a wonderful thing. I have, when I'm doing magic work, whether it's tarot reading or spell work, I usually have one or two of my cats around. As you could see, the two boys are sleeping right now. But those guys are usually around me when I'm doing spell work and stuff. Their energy is incredible. I like having the animal energy there. But Virgo moons are not into animals most of the time. I hope that's not the case. This placement of the moon will also, like I said, she has a tendency to criticize others, and her opinions are very strong. Sometimes her opinions will be so strong as they lead to bigotry and single-mindedness, and we've seen that with her comments about dream catchers and medicine wheels and medicine bowls and drumming. We're a bigot to our native brothers when we cast dispersions like that. This is all coming from her Virgo moon. Remember, Virgo, the moon is your emotions. But people with this moon placement can be very intellectually stimulating. They also enjoy taking part in like local events and social events, even some politics. So that's all about her moon. Now, her moon is in the sixth house. The sixth house is the house of health and service to the world. And she's very meticulous in what she does and is very organized. And it is not difficult for her to dedicate herself to an occupation that offers little reward. Maybe the metaphysical angel world didn't offer her much monetary rewards. Therefore, she's gone evangelical. There's a lot of money to be made in evangelicalism. Look at, what's his name? Joel Osteen. The millionaire. Religion. Sometimes this moon placement, though, can indicate frequent change in a person's career, as we are noticing. The lesson that needs to be learned with this placement is you need to avoid becoming too critical of coworkers and their performance on the job. You need to not become so emotional if they don't live up to your standards. Virgos have a very high standard and are very critical. So these are just some factors. Now, she has Mercury in Aries. Mercury is the mind. This is our communication, how we come across to others. Aries is the Lord of War. People with this placement have not learned tact. They don't know how to be tactful. They make very impulsive, rash decisions. Sometimes they're spontaneous thinkers. But with this placement, they need to learn to develop greater patience and self-control in order to use their quick mind to the fullest potential that they have. Your mind moves very quickly and you often act impulsively without considering all the possibilities. Maybe what's happened here is she's made an impulse decision. Maybe she'll regret it later. But this placement also, let's see. Did I say that one of her greatest challenges will be to develop greater concentration and self-control. Sorry, my paperwork isn't in order, so it was messing me up. Sorry. But that's Mercury in Aries. And then we move on. What I find interesting here is I talk about the benevolent and malevolent planets in astrology. And one of her planets that is in critical degrees is Jupiter. She's got the Sun, she's got Jupiter, and she's got... I had notes on this on another piece of paper. I have jotted down. Anyway, she has some planets in critical degrees in Jupiter, her Sun, and Uranus. And Jupiter, she has Jupiter, which is a benevolent planet, meaning a benefactor to us. Malevolent, meaning challenges, which would be the planets of Saturn, Mars. Those are malevolent, they're challenges. But she has some planets in critical degrees, one of them being Jupiter. Now, she has Jupiter in her 7th house. Wherever you have Jupiter, you have the Lord of Luck. So she will benefit materially through partnerships or marriage. Traditionally, Jupiter in the 7th house indicates that You will have a happy marriage, even though it will not be her first tour of marriage. She will eventually settle down and find her happiness. And she has Venus in Pisces, and that's in the 12th house. And this makes people very, they carry a lot of karmic baggage with them when they have this placement. This placement sometimes can produce martyrs in some way, and sacrificial lambs, so to speak. She's very private in her affairs and may even keep her affairs secret for quite some time. This placement does advise not to overindulge in food or drink or drugs, which she also has a Mars placed in Pisces, and that's in the 12th house too. And Mars and Pisces are very prone to alcohol abuse. I'm not saying she's an alcoholic in any sense of the way. That's not where I'm going with this. I have a Mars in Pisces, and yeah, definitely in my younger days, I definitely partied hard. Now that I'm older, not so much. Doesn't mean I don't have an occasional glass of wine or two every now and then, but a Mars in Pisces is very prone to alcoholism. But I'm not saying Doreen is an alcoholic. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that she's got both Venus and Mars placed in the 12th house of the subconscious. So I feel like there's a war going on with her inside of her deep subconscious. You know, Venus and Mars are the opposites. And one's about love and harmony. The other one's about war and aggression. So she has a battle going on up in that mind of hers. Also remember, natally speaking, we have a high concentration of Capricorn right now. So think about this. She's born in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. 10th house. Her 10th house is her career. It's her public standing. It's her accomplishments. Look at what's happening. It's all hitting in her 10th house of career. She's got Capricorn in Saturn stationed there until 2020. Okay. This is about karmic residue, karmic fate coming back to her. Now, we also have Pluto, which is the generational planet and it's sitting in Capricorn till like 2023, sitting in her 10th house. This is life, death, rebirth, transformation. Her career, she's transforming her career. Okay. Stars don't lie. They read pretty darn right. Saturn in Sagittarius, she's highly intuitive and has a philosophical approach to life. She loves to travel. This is telling me that she needs to be a little more disciplined in her meditation, which she probably doesn't do anymore because that's evil. But it will help her build greater concentration. She needs to keep up with regular physical exercise because it does signify that there are problems in her circulatory system if she's not careful. All right, bear with me. I have like 3 pieces of paper here with notes. People are very quiet today. It's a typical Sunday. Well, one of the interesting traits here, did I write this down or did I? No, that's not it. Bear with me, you guys. Bear with me. Here it is. When you get a reading from me, and some of my clients already know this that follow me and watch me, throughout the chart at the second part of your reading, there is a thing called planets and aspect. And I always tell my clients that the first 5 planets and aspect take on your character, your soul's character, how you operate, your psychology of things. So I looked into Doreen's psychology. And the first two things that came out was the one with the highest concentration is she was born with a sun squaring Uranus. Now the sun is about oneself, and a square is about when we have a square. And I don't talk too much about trines and squares because I'm not a modern astrologer, but when you get a reading from me, we all have those in our personal chart: trines, squares, conjunctions, sextiles. Well, she has a square in Uranus. Now, that's not really a good placement because a square is challenges, it's conflict, it's negative. And Uranus is the planet's sudden release of energy. So she likes personal freedom, but sometimes her being over eccentric creates her being a troublemaker in some ways. Maybe this was her more in her younger days than it is now, because I don't see this now. Sometimes this creates conflicts and disagreements. In her career, she will excel in teaching, science, government services, or any area in which you can use your strong leadership abilities for the good of others. This will allow her to express her creativity and to develop her good ability to compromise and work with others, which I think she has. She does have a strong desire for power. It's not how others perceive it as. Some people accentuate that energy more. Hers is a little more toned down than that. There's a bit of a rebel in Doreen Virtue, maybe in her younger days. Maybe this was with her parents, but she arrogantly refuses to follow rules, and this sets her up for targets of authority figures. Maybe not now, but in her younger days, she might have been like this. But there is a placement right after this one, and her sun is trining the moon. And this is actually a very beautiful placement because this aspect traditionally brings a certain amount of good luck into her life. And she has had a lot of good luck in her life. And I wanted to say hi to Shushaha. I'm sorry, Sushaha. She's listening from the United Kingdom. Welcome. Love the United Kingdom. My grandmother was from the United Kingdom. Yorkshire, to be precise. Her relationships with her parents contributed to her growth as an individual. Perhaps they encouraged her to establish her own individuality rather than becoming what they wanted her to be. However, remember I said her sun, her Jupiter, and her Uranus were all in critical degrees. So that's going to take a little shift than what this is saying, because her family has been a source for her of much joy throughout her life. But it also says unless other problems are indicated by other aspects of her sun or moon. Now her sun is in critical degrees along with Jupiter. So I think her parents were a little disappointed in her going into the esoteric realm of some sort. I don't know if they're alive. Like I said, I don't know much about her. I have a few books, a book and some cards. I don't follow her all that much. Perhaps if this was happening to someone I'm familiar with that I follow, like Raven Grimazzi, the man that writes all about Italian witchcraft and strega craft, I would know more because I follow him and I'm into him. I have several of his books. Like I said, I'm not really a fan. So in a way, I'm kind of going into it. Someone said this is perfect that you're not a fan and you're not an enemy either. You can go into it with a more unbiased opinion, which I can. But that is just a rundown of her stars. What I will do this evening is my website is theastrologywitch.com, and I do have this week's forecast to post. I will also post her entire chart for you to download and read. And if you have any questions, then you get that way. Also, you get to know how if you ever wanted your stars read, how they tick. Now remember, I'm just giving you the basics. I'm not getting into full detail. I don't feel like wasting my energy doing that, especially when I have other readings to do for people who have paid money for these readings. I rather put my 2 hours of time and energy into that than this. And like I said, this will be the last time I talk about her, hopefully. Well, she does something off the wall and we have to talk about it again. But in a nutshell, my perception from looking at her stars is she's regressed back into her dragon's tail in Taurus. And anytime you have a tail in Taurus, you lived a past life of wealth and riches. And that's exactly what has happened. She has married someone with money. And I mean, let's face it, like I said earlier in my broadcast, there's more money to be made in the evangelical world than there is in the metaphysical realm. I do believe that's going to change as statistics are showing that more millennials than ever are tapping into the paganism and esoteric realm. So in another 10, 15 years, this will be a very different topic. As for Doreen Virtue, if she feels comfortable in her dragon's tail, so be it. There's nothing we can do about that except wish her well. Bear with me, I'm reading what Shaha is saying. Thank you very much. She's stating that the chart that I did on her is very accurate. And go to my website and give me a couple of hours. I am actually going to download it and put it into an e-file. And I'm going to let you guys open that file up and read her full chart. I mean, to the point, every little aspect, even to the very end where it talks about what she lacks. Like some of us lack water, or some of us lack air, or abundance. There's certain things. It'll give you an insight to a little more. This was just the basics that I did some crib notes on last night. And like I said, I wish her well. If this is her path, this is her path. It's a little sad because her stars want her to swim to the Scorpio dragon's head, swimming up into the heavens, into the light, and she's regressed. So this person is saying that she loves money. Yes, ma'am. Amen. If you're a man or a woman, I'm not sure, but amen, my friend. They feel that it is time for them to move on from Doreen Virtue. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Let's move on and let's talk about other things. And we have other things going on in this world that take our precedence, other problems that we need to take care of. And one of those problems is, at least here in the United States, is a divided country. I really feel like the United States is on the brink of civil war in some ways. It's a little frightening. And I say a lot of things, I post a lot of things, but about our president. But I'll tell you this, I'd be doing the same thing if it was Hillary Clinton too. Okay, just so you know. I don't play those games. I don't take sides. I know better. But yes, I agree. It's time to move on from this. I've seen a lot of video footage about Doreen Virtue, and this will be the last one I do. The newsletter I post will be the last thing I post about her. You can read it in full. And I'll try and get back on here tomorrow and do some tarot card readings for you guys if I have time. And I think that's about it. I think I covered it all. Thank you all for joining me today, and I shall maybe return tomorrow. You can always find me on Facebook, Astrology Witch. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 100. excuse me. And I will be running a Valentine's Day special in the next day or two. And like I said, any questions you have, do not hesitate to contact me. And Saha, thank you for joining me. Love the UK. Blessings, everyone. I'll see you next time.